Chapter 163. Like your mother. Both ungrateful wretches. What exactly did you say to Dad? Ava had just finished trying on her wedding dress. Standing before a huge mirror, she watched Grace storm toward her furiously. As Grace approached and saw the wedding dress Ava wore, her face paled. Because she'd once inadvertently seen the design sketch for this dress on Adrian's computer. At the time, she'd thought it was a surprise Adrian was preparing for her. Later, when trying on wedding dresses, Adrian had never expressed an opinion, only letting her choose from the shop. She'd thought perhaps it was just something someone had sent Adrian to look at. So this really was the surprise he'd prepared, just for her sister. Grace, what's wrong? Summer just arrived. Why are you so heated? Ava crossed her arms, her fingers tapping rhythmically. What did you say to Dad? Why is he taking all his real estate holdings to make up your dowry? Anger tinged Grace's voice, along with a hint of grievance. Dad's attitude toward her had become very cold lately. She'd only learned about this inadvertently from Dad's secretary. Grace, if Dad wants to give me a bigger dowry, it's because he loves me. Why are you so angry? I'm also Dad's daughter. Can't Dad give me things? Ava sneered. Grace, have you been so absorbed in your romance lately that you haven't noticed any changes in Dad? Ava sighed lightly, feigning helplessness. Dad has always doted on you so much. Aren't you curious why he suddenly transferred his love to me? That's impossible, Grace refuted without thinking. Dad loved her mother most, then her. Then, why don't you ask Dad not to give it to me and see if he agrees? Ava smiled innocently. After New Year's, Philip had been sending things every few days, mostly expensive jewelry, bags, clothes, and shoes. She'd accepted everything. She wouldn't turn away money. She'd completely ignored Philip's messages asking her to come home for dinner, always brushing him off with excuses about being busy with the dance company. Just like when she was little, and he'd always said he was too busy with work. Grace was so angry she turned to leave. After only 2 steps, she ran into Adrian. She looked straight ahead and walked past without even bothering to greet him. Why did she come? Adrian walked to Ava's side. Looking at Ava in her wedding dress in the mirror, amazement floated into his eyes. He'd known she would be the most beautiful bride in the world in a wedding dress. Pretty? Ava lifted her dress and did a spin. Take that. She'd charm him to death. Very pretty. The dress suits you perfectly. Adrian hugged Ava from behind, his gaze falling on the mirror. Ava's smile was radiant as she leaned against him without any guard. Their faces drew closer and closer. A gentle kiss landed on Adrian's lips. Ava's beautiful eyes brimmed with amusement. She came to question me about why Dad is preparing such a large dowry for me. I'm very unhappy. Philip had given Grace so many things before, and she'd never said a word about it. Now that their positions were reversed, Grace had the audacity to come question her. Who did she think she was? Did she think everything would be fine just because she'd latched onto the Ashfords? Dad, why are you giving Ava such a large dowry? Grace stood before the office desk. Her father had transferred all his Hart Group shares to Ava. Though her father still had investments in other ventures that, while not comparable to Hart Group, still had quite considerable returns. If he gave everything to Ava, given Ava's personality, she definitely wouldn't take care of him in the future. His twilight years would surely be very bleak. She's my daughter. Preparing a dowry for her is natural and right. I hope this is the last time you discuss private matters with me at the company. Philip's tone grew heavier. Grace looked at Philip in disbelief. Dad, don't you love me anymore? Grace's voice was hoarse. Grace, you're already 31 years old. Dad, you promised my mother. You said you'd love me forever. Grace not mentioning Evelyn would have been fine, but as soon as she brought her up, Philip's expression became extremely ugly. Because of a lie, he'd ended up with this fate, his wife and children scattered. You're just like your mother, both ungrateful wretches. My things are mine to give to whomever I want. Get out. Philip's face flushed red with anger. His appearance frightened Grace. Dad, her voice trembled. Only now did she notice that Philip's hair had turned mostly white. Grace opened her mouth, wanting to say something more, but Philip shouted at her again. She ultimately left. She couldn't understand it. How had things come to this? Didn't Dad love her mother very much? Why was he so angry when she mentioned her mother today? Miss Hart, Mr. Ashford is in your office. Dominic Ashford's pursuit of Grace was known throughout Hart Group because Dominic was so high profile, coming every day to send flowers and gifts, and frequently treating everyone to afternoon tea. Grace nodded faintly, then pushed the door open. "What's wrong? You look like you're in a bad mood." Dominic leaned against the desk holding flowers. Seeing Grace enter, he straightened and handed her the flowers. "It's nothing." Grace shook her head. "Don't come anymore. I have no intention of dating right now." Without question, Dominic was a very good person, but her mind was too chaotic right now. She didn't want to rush into the next relationship. "I told you, I'm not in a hurry." Dominic handed the flowers to Grace, his smile radiant. "Grace, can you come pick up Adrian? He's drunk and keeps calling your name." Grace had just gotten into Dominic's car when she received Justin's call. She frowned. "If he's drunk, you should call Ava. He's already married. We broke up long ago." "Ava came, but he won't leave with her. He keeps looking for you." "Adrian Pierce, what do you mean by this? Do you want a divorce now?" A grieved female voice came through the phone. "When you begged to marry me, didn't you say you only loved me? What are you doing now?" "You and Grace broke up long ago. She has a boyfriend now. She won't come back." Dominic in the driver's seat turned his head. "Spam call?" Grace forced a smile. She'd looked forward to Adrian's love for many years, but the Grace who'd loved Adrian was already covered in wounds. She no longer had the energy to go to him. "Don't randomly harass other people's girlfriends in the middle of the night." Less than standard Mandarin came through the receiver. Ava leaned against Adrian, laughing until her eyes curved. "How interesting.